Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about a topic you guys have been begging for me to address in the comment section, and that is, should the Browns pursue Justin Fields as their quarterback? I've gotten a lot of comments in the comment section below asking to talk about this, so I figured, all right, let's talk about Justin Fields potentially being the next Browns quarterback, because there is no denying that Deshaun Watson is not going to return as this team's starting quarterback, at least to open up the season, especially that injury setback he suffered. So we are looking for a new starting quarterback for week 1 in my eyes. And Justin Fields is a very intriguing option, former first-round pick by the Chicago Bears. He had some highs, he had some lows, and listen, I'm not going to try and tell you guys that Justin Fields is a perfect product. I don't think anyone will at this point, but he's definitely had some really good stretches and some highlights to at least buy you in on the prospect of Fields being a starting quarterback for the Browns, or at least in the competition for the Browns starting gig. I mean, he's got the passing abilities, and of course with his legs, a great rusher as well. No arm issues in my eyes. He's got the strong arm. He can throw the ball into tight windows. He's got downfield accuracy. There is just a problem or two that I think is going to be a major hurdle for Kevin Stefanski to look past when deciding whether or not to sign Fields as his starter. Kevin Stefanski cannot miss on this veteran signing for the Browns. His back is against the wall. Browns went out and they got Deshaun Watson, and we'll never really know exactly how involved Stefanski was in the process for picking Deshaun Watson, but I can tell you that he will be involved, and he should be as the head coach, in picking the next quarterback for this team. Watson might have been a Jimmy Haslam completely fueled project, and he just brought Stefanski and Barry along for a ride, or maybe Barry and Haslam were in on together, or all three were equal parts in moving forward with Deshaun Watson. But it is clear to me that Kevin Stefanski has shown I can be a successful head coach, and our team can be successful with 2 playoff appearances under my belt, with a variety of different quarterbacks, but Deshaun Watson is not a successful quarterback in the system that I operate. And so, will Justin Fields be a quarterback that thrives in his system? This is where I start to have some issues thinking about Fields as a Browns quarterback. I like Justin Fields as an NFL quarterback, meaning I think he's got the tools to be successful. I think he is a starting quarterback in the National Football League. I don't think the Browns are the best spot for Justin Fields because I'm thinking about it through the lens of Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski has got to make this signing work, right? If the Browns trot out another subpar football team, he's going to get fired. Back-to-back 3, 4, 5-win seasons, whatever it could be next year, and Stefanski is going to be gone. So this is a major offseason for Stefanski when it comes to finding the right quarterback. And I don't think Fields is the quarterback he is going to put all of his eggs in that basket. Why? Because I'm thinking about what Justin Fields' 2 biggest weaknesses are. And to me that is sacks allowed and turnovers. And we can look at Justin Fields' sacks allowed and turnovers since 2021, and he is 4th in sacks, 5th in turnovers, and he is 20th in games started. There are some really good highlight-worthy plays from Fields. I like the upside of Justin Fields, but I'm looking at this through the lens of Kevin Stefanski. And I'm asking myself, is Stefanski really about to turn the keys over to Fields with his job on the line? And his 2 biggest weaknesses are the 2 things that have completely plagued the Browns offense the last 2 seasons. Forget the Browns offense, just the Cleveland Browns. They have finished dead last in turnovers the past 2 seasons. They were the 2nd worst team in sacks allowed in 2024. Does Justin Fields feel like the remedy for those issues? I don't think so. Maybe you can say all that was on the Chicago Bears, right? And the coaching staff and their offensive line. And you'd have a lot of truth behind that feeling. But that's a big gamble, right? Stefanski knows pressure is on. And is the guy who is bottom 5 in sacks and turnovers since entering the league going to fix the biggest problem for the Browns right now, which is sacks and turnovers? Probably not. So I feel like Fields can be a good starter elsewhere, and he could be a good starter with the Browns. But this is a big roll of the dice. One that I don't think a coach coming off a 3-win season is going to do. Now we're going to talk about another quarterback that the Browns could have their eyes on for 2025. But first, a quick shout out to our sponsor today, which is FUM. Have you heard that flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of today's video, FUM. It is an award-winning flavored air device. FUM fills the void ditching a bad habit can leave. You can still have something to reach for, it is not a vape, and it can be used as an alternative to vaping or quitting smoking. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, FUM cores are closer to herbal teas. FUM has lots of delicious flavors to choose from, like crisp mint and orange vanilla. FUM has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try FUM today, and if you order the Journey Pack now using my code CHATSPORTS, you'll get a free FUM topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfum.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen. All of that information is in the comments and description of today's episode. Check out FUM today if you are trying to ditch a bad habit. Shout out to FUM for supporting us here at the Cleveland Browns Report. So let's talk about who else could be in the running for the Browns' free agent wish list at the quarterback position. Sam Darnold is just going to be too pricey, in my opinion. Jameis could return, but I find it a little strange that they benched him and then opted to bring him back. That's going to be a tough one to answer. Like, yeah, he wasn't good enough to close out the year for us, but we wanted to re-sign him. Oh, so then you liked him enough to bring him back, but not to finish the year? That's strange. That to me screams they were openly trying to tank. And that's a very big no-no when it comes to the NFL, because why would anyone spend $1 on the Browns if they are not trying to win games? Season ticket holders should get refunded. I know that's a big slippery slope from just benching Winston for DTR, but there are going to be questions that have to be answered. So going back, you've got Flacco. I don't think they're going to run it back with him, or bring him back, I should say. They're the two Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks. I don't know what their plan is. Jarrett Stidham lost the job to Bo Nix. He's got some starting experience. How about our old friend Jacoby Brissett? We know Andrew Berry loves formerly highly drafted players like Trey Lance. Drew Lock, I didn't see enough from this year out of him in New York to think that's someone I want to, trust to start week 1. There's someone that I don't have on this list because they're not a free agent. It's Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons backup quarterback, who we all know by now what went down in Atlanta. He started to play poorly. They benched him. Michael Penix is their future. And now they've got a very, very expensive backup quarterback in Kirk Cousins, who I believe is going to be on a different roster in 2025. There are some issues. One, he's got a no-trade clause, meaning if he does not want to get traded somewhere, he can simply say no. That's one issue. 2, I think he kind of stinks. Look at the numbers he had from weeks 10 to 15. That's a long stretch. In that stretch, they went 1-4, including a 4-game losing streak in which Cousins threw 0 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So I'm having a tough time looking past that stretch. I'm having a tough time believing the Browns are going to get a better quarterback than that quarterback right there. Atlanta was adamant that Cousins is not injured. Now, they're going to say that because they want to keep his value up in case anyone does call to trade for him. So maybe with some more time removed from that Achilles injury, we can get old Kirk Cousins. And if you are able to get old Kirk Cousins, that is an all-time bargain. And that's honestly an escape route from not the hell the Browns are in from a salary cap perspective, but that's an easy exit from the Deshaun Watson fiasco of the signing or the contract and the trade and still finding good quarterback play for very cheap. Because if Kirk Cousins does end up getting released by the Falcons, which I think they will release him, are they really going to have a backup quarterback carry a $40 million cap hit and a $27 million base salary? And if he is on their roster 4 or 5 days after the new league year starts, $10 extra million becomes guaranteed. That's a lot of money for a backup quarterback. And they have said he is our backup. They also are not going to come out and say, yeah, he's not our backup anymore. Oh, so you guys are going to release him. Well, we won't bother trying to trade for him. They're going to try and make him look like the world's greatest backup of all time, and we don't want to move on from him. So if you want him, you're going to have to pry him away from us. They're just trying to bump up his value. When in reality, it's just a waiting game. Just wait for the new league years to start and see if they really are going to give him $10 extra million to be the backup. My guess is the owner's going to come down and say, abso-fucking-lutely not. We're not paying this guy $10 extra million to sit on the bench. Cut him. That was a mistake of a signing. Let's cut our losses. So going back to the escape route for the Browns when it comes to the quarterback position and the tough spot they are in here, you want a lifeboat and you want a lifeline tossed to you. I mean, you get Kirk Cousins released by the Falcons, and then he plays on a vet minimum contract because his base salary is $27 million. So inevitably, in my eyes, when Atlanta releases him, all another team has to do is pay him the vet minimum, and the remaining balance of that $27 million will be paid by the Atlanta Falcons. And you're getting potentially high-level quarterback play, because we can all agree before Kirk got injured, he was a high-level quarterback. I'm not saying he's top 5. You can argue if he's top 10 or not, but he's definitely in the top half of quarterbacks. And you're getting that for $1.75 million. That's going to be a big sigh of relief for the Browns salary cap. I know the Browns internally are never concerned about the salary cap, but I'm going to be a little concerned. They're currently in the red. So $1.75 million for a starting quarterback sounds like an all-time steal to me, as long as you can get a good starting quarterback out of Kirk. Signing him to a $1.75 million deal and getting the guy who threw no touchdowns and 8 interceptions in 4 games before he got benched, I don't care if you're paying him $1.75 or $1.75 million. I don't care how great of a value it is. If he's going to stink with the Browns, who cares how much you're paying him? He still stinks. So that's the question we have to ask ourselves. And I say we, mostly Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Are they going to get the good Kirk Cousins or the bad Kirk Cousins? So of the 2 quarterbacks we talked about today, which one would you like to see the Browns go out and sign? Justin Fields, who I think is a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't think it's the right time for Kevin Stefanski to go all in on a turnover-prone, takes a lot of sacks quarterback, and that has been the 2 biggest issues for the Browns the last 2 seasons. Or very, very cheap Kirk Cousins, who, when he's on his game, he's one of the best, but we haven't seen that in a long time. I go back and forth. Let's pick a card before we get on out of here. Big shout out, by the way, to Dylan Sutcliffe. The reason why it's called the Dylan Sutcliffe Pick a Card, by the way, is Dylan joined our Browns Report meet and greet back in August. He talked about how big of a fan he was of the Pick a Card. Plus, Dylan sent me a birthday email this morning, Jack, before anyone in my family called or texted. So thank you, Dylan. You put my mom and dad on the hot seat for sure. But, Jack, which card do you want to go with today?
Oh, man. I haven't done this in a while. Let's do the Queen of Clubs.
Queen of Clubs? Okay. I'm going to go with the 8 of Hearts. You weren't far off. Jack of Diamonds. That would have been a cool birthday present. Okay. Thanks so much to Fume for sponsoring today's episode. Scan the QR code and on screen and use code CHATSPORTS to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today.